My accident happened in April of 2009 at a plywood mill in Klamath Falls, Oregon. One of the rollers caught the end of my glove and sucked it into the machine, and it pulled my hand in up to the palm.
There are a lot more partial hand amputees that need prosthetic devices. So we do a lot of activity-specific devices to give those patients the ability to do the things that they need to do, and to really give them the same opportunity to use prosthetic devices as other patients have.
So Scott Haskins here has a partial hand amputation, and for that amputation he uses a variety of prosthetic devices. One of the things about having a partial hand amputation is that he's lost the ability to grasp a lot of objects. So in order to recreate some of that, we've given him different tools that he uses to do some of the things that he wants to be able to do and needs to be able to do. Scott heats his house with logs and a wood-burning stove, so he needs to be able to put those logs into the fire. So he has one of the scariest looking devices that we've ever made, a custom fire poker. It's not something that I've made for anyone else, but for him it's a necessity.
At night when the fire starts to die and I need to put a log on the fire, I go to my fire poker and slip it on and wait for the next log to burn.
One of the first times Scott came in, his hand was all banged up and he had all these bumps and bruises on it from loading wood into the fire at night. So so that just makes the whole process go quicker and less painful and simpler. But then sometimes you're out and he needs to cut wood, and if he's going to do that, he may need to grab a hold of a bunch of different logs. And so this is something that we made him, again, just gives him the ability to grab a hold of a log and have it be more secure and stable on him. It basically is a custom leather and plastic gauntlet that is formed to to his hand shape exactly, but then has a removable log prehension pad, or just something that allows him to grip onto a log, and we made it removable so that he could take this off and not have it always be poking things. And if he wanted to just wear the gauntlet for a while as a protection, he can do that. But if he needs to grab a hold of a log, he can stick that on there. And again, we're trying to make things as simple as possible but still be functional. So this just we'll have Scott put that on. He just slides into that one and then just velcros it closed, and again he's out there and he can wear a glove or something underneath that, so if he's outside when it's cold out, he can use it and keeps his hand warm for him.
I use it for loading the pickup and unloading the pickup, and mainly for raw logs. Yeah, it's not mostly an in-house device, it's mostly used for outdoors, and these spikes really help grasp onto the logs and help me give me a grip, which I don't have without the fingers.
One of the other devices that we made for Scott is it's a carbon fiber frame that has a quick disconnect unit on it that he has, so he can put different tools into it and different devices. Even something like a hammer, you can put it in there, and then again, instead of trying to give him something that can grasp a hammer, we give him a device that he can put a hammer into. Again, or a tool holder, things like rakes and shovels and power washers and whatever a lot of the handles just fit nicely right into that C-clamp, and so he can get a hold of it and have it again act as that grasping capability. He uses a custom silicone liner that goes on underneath it, so he just slips the silicone on and then puts this on over the top of it.
This device helps me to carry different things like buckets, rakes, shovels. I also have a variety of utensils like steak knives and cutting knives, and I even have a hunting knife that fits in here that I can use for cleaning my game. And so it helps me to be able to, I can cut things with it.
One of the other devices that or prosthetic devices that Scott has is a custom silicone restoration, and for a lot of amputees, the appearance of the prosthesis, as well as the appearance of an uninjured hand, is very important. So one of the things that we do, and we do best in the industry, is the custom silicone restoration, which is custom painted to each patient. Or, you know, for Scott, he sat with a silicone painter for 3-4 hours while they painted exactly the appearance of his uninjured hand into a silicone sleeve that he uses. And why don't we go ahead and have you put that on, Scott, so you can show the realism of it. Here, I'll have you put some of that lotion on. It's a completely suction fit device, slips on over his residual hand. He's just the silicone is elastic enough to slide up and over the hand. But one of the things that the patients, when they're working with a silicone restoration, that I hear very often, is that they've reached they reach a place in their life where they have accepted the appearance of their hand, but they get questions about the hand every day, and it tends to be the first topic of conversation when they meet someone new. So a lot of times a silicone restoration can give a person that opportunity to choose when they want to have someone know whether or not they have an amputation or not. It's just more of a time saver, if anything else, so you don't have to continually be asking or answering the same questions over and over and over again. And then, when a person does want to hear or you do want to tell their own story, they can choose to do that.
And as you meet people, they always want to know what happened to your hand, and pretty soon it gets old talking about it. I mean, I'm not shy about my hand being injured. It's just having to tell the same old story over and over and over again. And this helps me because people don't really even notice when I wear it.
They are so real, and they are so realistic looking. It can almost be a shock sometimes to look down and see what is very much like your hand that they used to have. So one of the things that we caution our patients is to make sure that they don't take it lightly, and they recognize those feelings, because it can be a powerful experience to have something so realistic looking on your hand. So
It's kind of different getting used to not having the feeling. You see it there, but you don't have the feeling in your fingers. But the more I wear it, the more used to it I get.
One of the things about partial hand prosthetics and partial hand amputees is that there just isn't the availability of prosthetic componentry. So one of the things that we excel at Advanced Arm Dynamics is being very creative with what we have available to us, and creating things that aren't out there and aren't available to anybody else. These are just perfect examples of that. There are, coming onto the market, more opportunities and more options for us as practitioners. Electric and powered fingers, body powered or cable driven fingers, but still those don't replace ingenuity and being able to recreate as much function as possible for a patient.
Okay, this gun has been modified for me because I don't have any fingers to pull the trigger with. So what Advanced Arm Dynamics did was they drilled a hole down through the stock, and then they drilled through the trigger guard and into the trigger and ran a cable through, and that way I can still hold it with the palm of my hand, but I can use my thumb to pull the trigger. Advanced Arm Dynamics is, in my opinion, way ahead of the curve, and they have so many ideas, and they can engineer just about anything that I've ever needed personally. They've come up with and done brilliant ideas.